This is Worldwide Flava Network. Coast to coast and worldwide.
The views, information, or opinions expressed on the broadcast of Worldwide Flava Network are solely those of the individuals involved and does not represent those of the Worldwide Flava Network and Live365.com. Worldwide Flava Network is not responsible and does not verify for accuracy of the information contained on any live or recorded broadcast available for listening on the site.
Hey everybody, it's your girl Shell, also known as Color Beauty. Join me on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. on WWFN Online Radio. When 2 minutes is not enough, we go into overtime. See you then.
This show is being sponsored by Worldwide Flavor Network. If you are looking to have your own radio show, come and join us here on WWFN Online Radio. Contact us via our website, www.worldwideflavornetwork.com.
Tune in Tuesdays from 7 to 8 p.m. for the Positional Sports Talk Show on the Worldwide Flavor Network with Big Reg
and J3.
Good evening and welcome to the Positional Sports Talk Show, host on the Worldwide Flavor Network. Bringing you a sports talk show made for the fans, from the perspective of fans, presented by lifelong sports fans. We will provide our opinions and positions on the hottest topics in sports without hidden agendas or deference to any organizational team. My name is Big Reg, and I'm joined this evening by my partner in crime, J3. What's up, J3?
What's happening? How y'all doing?
Good. We're also joined this evening again by our other brother. What's up, Al? How you feeling this week?
Doing great this evening. Before you go any further, I'd just like to apologize for the difficulties we had with the mic last week. So you should hear me loud and clear this time.
All right.
No problem.
Mhm.
So we're going to hit this week some of the things that we missed last week. One of our big topics. How should fans feel about their sports stars off the field issues? We're also going to do the NFL Week 3, College Football Week 4, final week of the Major League Baseball push, and other sports topics that caught our attention and things that are coming this weekend. And of course, our final post of the evening. So sit back, relax, and enjoy Post on WWFN Online Radio. So everybody's seen in the news the past month the Antonio Brown issues going on. Also lately, I'm not sure if you saw it, but in Major League Baseball, we had a Phillies outfielder, Mr. Herrera, who in July was suspended for the rest of the season. Just recently, Yankees starting pitcher Domingo German was suspended for the remainder of the season. This is a playoff team who decided to sit a pitcher down. And even in locally with our Washington Caps, Evgeny Kuznetsov, he had the issue last year after they won the Cup with the celebration in Las Vegas, when he was in a room with some illicit paraphilics. He said he didn't partake. Come to find out later that he ends up being suspended by the International Hockey Federation when he was playing for his club team, which I believe is Sweden, for cocaine use. So, how do you guys think fans should feel in today's climate about these athletes when they get in trouble for off-field issues?
Go ahead, Al.
Yeah, well, the biggest thing is the fans, most of them, the true fans, they have their favorites. And when a particular player gets in trouble, it affects them internally, but it affects the leagues as a whole. It tarnishes the league. Um, I just feel that they just need to stay in line. They're not above the law per se. They're human beings just like we are. I mean, they're paid athletes. They're getting paid millions of dollars to play a kids game that we all grew up playing in all types of sports. And I'm just not designating the major football, basketball, baseball, but everything. And it comes a responsibility that you need to be upheld upon to do, to do the right thing.
So with that being said, Al, do you think that we should look at these individuals as heroes? Because you have young individuals out here who don't have any type of father figure, uncle, grandfather, or mentor to look up to, and they look up to these athletes as superheroes, but yet they don't have any type of standards to where they're going to sit here and be the role model that they should be.
Just before you answer that, I think we should be careful of not generalizing. Most athletes do what they're supposed to do, but it's the few that tend to be sometimes the stars of the sports that sometimes get out of whack and get out of hand and do things that we wish they wouldn't do. And because they're stars, they make a big issue. But I would say 99% of the athletes, you never hear anything about them. They do what they're supposed to do. Play the game, go home, make their money, or at least we don't hear about them.
Yeah, I think just piggybacking what you're saying, Joe, about uh, having a role model. There's two sides of it. I can agree with you when you say, yeah, there should be, they should be up, the role models, looking kids looking at them as role models. But then on the other hand, it's life lessons too. When a child sees that and then they question it, and with some type of supervision at home, I don't care if it's a mother, father, uncle, aunt, there should be clarity.
Good point.
Mhm.
I can agree with that.
Mhm.
I still think that, I mean, you getting paid oodles and noodles of dollars, and you should be held at a different standard. I mean, because of the fact that we're paying you to be, in my opinion, now, again, this is just my opinion.
Yes.
But if I'm sitting here paying you 5, 6, 10, $15 million to produce on the field, you have kids that are out here trying to emulate you. So be a role model. It's not that hard.
And you're absolutely right. With the fans, they deserve it. The kids, they deserve it. And yeah, wholeheartedly, yes, that's the way it should be.
But should that be the athlete's responsibility to be role models? I mean, I'm sure we all remember the controversial and big time commercial that Charles Barkley did back with Nike and says, I'm not a role model. I mean, we put a lot of accountability on athletes to do things other than play the sport that they're actually being paid for. They're being paid to be performers on the field, on ice. Um, it would be nice if they were role models and wanted to give back, but is that necessarily, should they be obligated?
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying, but let me just put this out there. When those individuals who were young were had aspirations of being in the sport that they love to play to get paid for, they looked up to individuals, and I'm quite sure they didn't hear anything about those individuals doing something wrong.
Well, it's a different light now because of social media. That
Yep.
is a huge thing. A lot of things were just put thrown under the rug when we were youngsters. Everything is exploited now. I mean, you can't hide anywhere. Um, Again, it's up to the professional athlete to do the right thing, to surround themselves with positive people, not get caught up in these bars and whatnot. It's bad. It's bad for them. Bad business all around.
Yeah, with cameras everywhere today. Every phone is a camera. You got cameras in houses and every club. Everywhere you go, you're on video. So it's definitely up to the person to do the right thing when they're supposed to be. Um, how do you feel about the leagues and or organizations having to police these types of actions? And should they be involved in that, or should they just be worrying about what's going on the field?
I think they should definitely be involved with things that happen off the playing field and make examples out of these individuals that are continually doing the things that they're doing. That's how I feel about it.
And with they being particular, do either one of you think he plays again this year or at all?
No, I firmly believe that his career is over. I can't foresee him being picked up by another team. I mean, 3 strikes you out.
Do you really think that's going to happen? I think there are teams out here who can utilize his skill set.
I understand.
And I'm totally surprised that the Patriots let him go like they did. I wouldn't be surprised if he's in another uniform within the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Wow, 2 to 3 weeks.
2 to
You
3?
think that's short?
You never know.
Yeah, I think that I'm not going to close the door. I know it's mostly closed. But, teams get desperate, especially if a team is making a run at the end of the year and the receiver goes down.
That's true.
Or they make them sit out the rest of the year and then come back and say, well, Antonio did X, Y, and Z, so now he's better. We're going to give him another chance. I mean, that type of talent, he's got Hall of Fame talent.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah,
Absolutely.
no doubt. We know that.
mean, if he didn't play another game, you could argue that he's a Hall of Famer right now.
Oh, he's first ballot, automatic.
So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
J3, I think you said you had something for us. this
Yeah,
evening.
so I got a question from a caller who wanted to see what your thoughts are. And the question was, if you're a coach, let me see if I get this right now. If you're a coach, what's more important, your scheme or your players?
Wow. That is very interesting. I think they're both equally important. I think sometimes coaches get too bogged down in their scheme, especially if they've been designated an offensive guru or a defensive guru, no matter what the sport is. So they try to fit their scheme on their players, no matter what their skill set is. And if they don't work in that skill set, then it's the player's fault, where you can't win without good players.
Absolutely.
So you got to have both, in my opinion. And the great coaches know how to meld what people do best to their scheme or change their scheme to adapt it. What do you think, Al?
I think scheme is more important, and we can go back to what happened this past year with the Ravens. That's a prime example. Here we got Flacco, and then we bring in the young man,
Lamar
Jackson, and how basically what they did, they knew that he wasn't a pocket passer, so they schemed it around his strengths, running the ball, a lot of play action. So I think scheme is more important than anything, because the personnel will come. But once you have a scheme established, then they know exactly how they're going to go about drafting players.
I agree with you with what the Ravens did, but they didn't stick with their scheme. They actually developed a totally new scheme for the new players.
Right, and that came in the off season. So
no, they changed it mid-season. Remember, they
went from the passing
offense
right,
to run-heavy offense.
Right.
Running. They used his skill sets that they knew he had right now, and said, "This is what you want. We want you to do," and it got them to the division title and to the playoffs. Over the summer, they continued to let him develop. Where I think that's a great example. You've got coaches that realize the talent they have is so unique that I'm going to trash my idea of what this team should look like and gear it toward that team. Kansas City is another one.
Yep.
I mean, You look at what they're doing offensively, it's just ridiculous. Andy Reid totally revamped and went away from the quote unquote West Coast Conference type of short pass, and let their young boy Mahomes throw it down the field, fill it up, and play to his strengths.
Right.
Right here in DC, and definitely want to talk about this a little more later. We got the opposite of that. That Washington Redskins, who has a coach who thinks so much of his scheme that he forces it on everyone, where they can't get to the offensive line in time. They're almost always getting ready to have a delayed game because it's too wordy. It's hard to get a hold of, and you wonder why they don't win.
Anytime you're going to sit here and bench AP, one of the best backs out here at his age, just doesn't make any sense at all.
So to answer the question again, I think that the greats combine the great players with an adaptation of whatever scheme that they originally thought and built that scheme around the players that they had. And that's how New England continues to win.
Yes.
Year in, year out, week in, week out. They'll go from being 50 passes in 1 week to the next week, they'll run it 45 times.
Exactly. They adjust the teams week by week.
Well, that's what a good coach does, but obviously the Redskins don't have one. But let's keep it moving.
So that brings us right into the NFL Week 3 topics. 3 weeks in, we've got 8 undefeated teams left in the NFL. You got the Patriots, the Bills, the Kansas City Chiefs, and then the NFC, we've got the Cowboys, the Packers, the Rams, the 49ers, and technically the Detroit Lions.
What?
They haven't lost the game yet.
Who have they played?
Well, they're 2-0-1. They had the tie against Arizona, which they should have won.
Yeah.
They didn't have a
Win's
coach
a win.
run down the
Yeah.
sideline and call a timeout late,
Right.
which called
Freezes.
back a touchdown. So, I mean, the game of the week obviously was the Chiefs playing the Baltimore Ravens.
What a good game.
Yeah,
I mean, that
great
was
game.
What
back
a
and
good
forth.
game.
Yes. Great game.
I think that was one of the times where the Ravens coaches might have gotten a little out of their normal element
I agree.
and tried to play a game and we show that we could outscore and out offense the Chiefs instead of pounding the Chiefs, which they should have done, in my opinion.
Exactly.
Ingram was killing them.
The game plan going in, I thought, run the ball,
Yeah,
take the air out of the ball.
they got away from
And
it.
they had enough defense to sustain. But trying to have a track meet against Mahomes and the crew, nah.
And they still win the game.
Yes.
If Lamar wasn't a little too amped up and could have hit just a couple of those deep passes.
He came close a couple times.
But-
The game could have gone either way.
But don't think about the drop passes that they had also. I mean, he
Yeah.
was putting the ball in their hands. They just wasn't catching it.
Right.
So you can't take that away from them either.
I was still impressed with the way Lamar looked in the game. I mean, Mahomes is crazy.
Man,
I mean, crazy.
hands down. Hands down.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who wide receivers are out there for him. He knows how to find them.
Absolutely.
This is the 3rd week in a row where he's just exploded in a quarter.
Mm-hmm. Second quarter.
He hasn't played a full game yet,
Right.
which is scary.
Right.
Yeah.
If he clicks throughout a game, they might score 70 points on somebody.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
I mean, so congratulations to the Chiefs. Well done. They are well on their way to maybe putting the Patriots on notice that they don't necessarily have the AFC on lockdown. And I think that the Ravens are right there. And they got a good game coming up this week with them against the Browns, where they can take one of their division foes and kind of maybe put them out of their misery and really take a hold on the AFC North. The Pats, I mean, poor Jets. Poor Jets. The only thing I can say about that is Belichick, threw a bone to the people who were betting on the Jets and put his second string people in who threw a pick six and also fumbled the ball for a touchdown, or they would have shut the Jets out.
Mhm.
It was that bad.
It was that bad.
Yeah.
Jets going through a lot right now. But the Jets are the Jets. It's the same.
Exactly.
Nothing has changed.
They ain't been good since when? 1970?
Were they good? He said they ain't been good since that man said, "I guarantee we gonna win a championship." But the Patriots have a defense. That is the one thing I want to point out.
Mhm.
They've given up 3 points in 3 games, and that was to Pittsburgh in the very first game.
Right.
Yeah, but do you expect anything less from the Patriots? I mean, let's be serious. They have an all-around squad.
Well, remember too,
And they play as a team.
that I get that Belichick is running that defense.
Okay, but
In
again,
years past, he hasn't. But when he runs a defense, they always shine.
they play as a team. It makes
They
a
play as a
difference.
team. You're right.
It makes a
They're
difference.
scary. They're scary.
Yeah, they are.
They got a bunch of injuries, a bunch of nicks and bruises. Their receiving core is a little banged up, but they're scary. The surprise of the AFC East, the Buffalo Bills,
Mhm.
Yes.
beating the 2 quote-unquote New York, New Jersey teams wasn't a big issue. But, I mean, that was a solid win against the Bengals last week. Josh Allen continues to progress. Still not sold on him as a franchise quarterback, but he's winning. He's doing his thing.
Right.
And,
The real
Mr.
surprise. Yeah, go
Old
ahead.
man Frank Gore.
Right. That's the real
continues to
surprise.
score
Still doing it.
touchdowns week in and week out. What is he, 135 now?
And
He
still
can't-
tanking
He
through.
keeps killing me in my fantasy football too. But I love him. I love him.
Packers have a defense. They stay undefeated, beat the Broncos. I think the Broncos are starting to regret that Joe Flacco signing. But, I mean, the defense for the Packers are allowing the offense to take their time, work out things for Aaron Rodgers to get used to it. Aaron Rodgers really hasn't done anything yet this year.
No, he has.
Just give him time.
Exactly.
Just give him time.
So you give him another few weeks with that defense, and they can be scary in the NFC. Now, some of our friends' favorite team. How about them Cowboys?
Well, I'm not a fan favorite of them, but speak on with them. I mean, they're doing what they're supposed to do. They're
True.
3-0 now.
True.
Okay.
True.
But I'm looking forward to Dallas playing New Orleans. And a lot of people are probably saying Bridgewater. One thing, that's another point I want to make. Bridgewater, I'm happy they got opportunity. They got that win in Seattle. That was a crazy game.
That was amazing.
That was real crazy.
Real
Amazing.
crazy game. But one thing about Bridgewater, what he will do when they play Dallas, if he doesn't turn the ball over, New Orleans will have a great chance to win that game.
Yeah, because he's a mobile quarterback.
That's one part of it, but he manages the game very well, and he doesn't turn the ball over.
Right. But he doesn't sit in the pocket and wait for it to collapse. He makes plays. And that's what I think the reason why they actually got him, because of the fact that when it's time for him to step up, he going to step up and take reign.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just real happy for him and getting that second opportunity.
Yes.
They said he cried in the locker room before the game because this was going to be his first real time of actually playing meaningful football since that horrific injury he had with his leg on the practice field. So he was so thankful. So, I mean, it was real good. But, I mean, Dallas, back to them Cowboys, they did their thing after a sleepy start. Dak continues to impress, continues to run up that cash register. Hey, Jerry.
Hold on, bro. Sleepy start? Really? They played the Redskins and the Dolphins. I mean, really? Sleepy start? Wait till they play somebody and then give them real props. How about that?
You can only play who's on your schedule.
I understand, but I'm just saying they didn't play nobody to their potential, in my opinion.
Well, we'll start to see this week.
New Orleans.
Am I right, Al? Am I right?
I agree.
Okay, just checking.
The LA Rams, they are still undefeated, but they don't look like last year's team.
No, I think some of the teams are catching up to the offensive scheme that they ran last year. And then with their running back not performing, and he's still hurt.
Who, Gurley?
Gurley, he's got the arthritic knee. He's not the same. I saw a little bit of that game, and I watched him run it several times. The explosiveness is not there. Even when he's cutting left or right, he don't have that giddy up.
So how much longer do you think he's going to be in the league?
It's hard to say.
He's gonna be in there as long enough that he can keep that guaranteed money. I can guarantee you that. And I mean, the $110 million man, Mr. Jared Goff, is looking like an ordinary quarterback, or maybe even a below ordinary quarterback, making more mistakes. He did throw for 269 yards, 2 TDs, but he threw 2 bad interceptions.
Yeah, he did. Yes, he did.
So if it wasn't for Baker Mayfield and that offensive line of the Browns looking so horrible, the Browns could have possibly won that game.
Yeah.
The Browns are still gelling. I mean, we know they have a lot of talent on the offense, and I think Baker's still trying to, like you said, he's trying to get his line to give him the time that he needs to make the plays that they want him to make.
And with a rookie coach who on 4th and 9 in the opponent's end of the field calls a draw play.
Yeah, I can understand
when
that
you're
play.
behind.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the game, they're within the 5-yard line, 1st and goal. And then they don't run the ball. So
when you got Chubb waiting to get the ball,
Yeah, Chubb's been running strong this year. He's doing well.
So again, the Ravens can really cause them some big issues this week if they do what they're supposed to do. So that's going to be a very interesting game. Your 49ers, Al.
Oh, I'm loving it.
Why does this kept? A lot of people, aren't paying attention, but 3-0.
That was a sloppy game.
It was
a real sloppy game.
I watched a lot of that game, and the first half was just ugly. Turnover after turnover, and Pittsburgh had a lot of opportunities to really, separate themselves in that game, but it just didn't happen. But give credit is due. The biggest thing that the 49ers have going for them, defense. Of all things, the defense side of the ball. They're clicking.
They played on both sides of the field, and that made the difference because Mason Rudolph, even though he tried to will his team to a win, he just didn't have it in him. And to me, the Steelers defense didn't look too strong.
They're a young bunch. They're a very young bunch. They got it's going to take some time with them.
That Niners defense is also a young bunch, but they put a lot of draft capital, quite a few number ones and high number twos over there, and really starting to see some dividends while the offense still gets their footing behind them. And Jimmy G still is recovering from that knee injury. So, they're on track, more than on track.
Right.
We are now in the Daniel Jones era. New York Giants look like they might have a quarterback. And what everybody called the Eli clone is faster, more mobile, and looks like he's got a better arm.
We want Eli. We want Eli.
Eli, the happiest person in New York right now. Because I can make 20-something million and sit here on the bench and get paid and not get hit.
Yeah.
Go ahead and do that thing, Daniel Jones. So, was it a one-hit wonder, or you think Jones might be able to be a legit starting NFL QB?
From what I've seen so far, I think he's going to do well. He's another quarterback that has come into the league that can run, can move, and as we stated last week and the week before, that's where the league is going. Guys are coming into the league, not only pocket pass quarterbacks, but they're moving outside the pocket. They're causing a lot of havoc. Only concern I have for Mr. Jones is not this upcoming week. No pun intended. No, the Redskins are playing them.
Mm.
But it will be that Minnesota and New England game that I'll really be paying attention to see how he does in those two games. He comes out of that with at least one win out of those, then I say he's legit.
Time will tell.
It's going to be hard for them to
It's a tall task.
win either one of those games,
Yeah.
especially missing the big man. It was sad to see the running back go down with the sprained ankle.
Yes.
I just read
Saquon.
Yep.
this
Saquon Barkley.
afternoon
Yeah.
that Barkley is seeking a second opinion. Was supposed to be flying out somewhere tomorrow to see about possibly getting a different type of procedure because he's trying to get back faster than the 4 to 8 weeks that the Giants have speculated, and they've also said that it was going to be closer to the higher end than the lower end. So, yeah, Daniel Jones going to have a lot of heat on him now. We know you can't run. You don't have Barkley, so let's see if you can beat us with your arm. To your skins. I mean, again, I'm a former fan. Gave up my fanship to the Skins last year happily, but I was still disgusted
Oh my goodness.
with what happened.
Oh my
last
goodness. That game was worse than the 49ers game.
How can you let a team from Chicago,
Yeah.
from the Midwest,
Right.
take over your stadium?
Like they wasn't even in there.
They played
Yeah.
2 games this year, and they both been away games at home.
That's when you know it's really bad.
And then again, we have a former player who scores on us interception.
Aha, Dixon.
And did you
Man.
did you hear the fact that they actually offered Clinton
More
Dix
money. And he said
more
no.
money? He said, "No, I want to go to a team that have a better opportunity to win and a better
Can't blame him.
organization."
I can't blame him.
That's right.
I mean, and what's worse is listening to Jay Gruden after games and the day after.
You bold because I wouldn't do it.
I mean, it's just a joke.
Can't. Mm-mm.
I don't know how he keeps his job, but at some point, Daniel Snyder's got to say enough's enough. His stadium's already half empty, and of the half that's there, half of them are the opponent's fans.
Yep.
That's got to make you sick.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not really. If they up
Yeah.
there in the stands and they still buying his items at the snack bars, he's still making money, so he don't care.
But he ain't making the same money. He
Uh-uh.
was used to selling 90,000 seats, but then they took out a bunch of seats
Yep.
because they couldn't sell those.
Yep.
It was down to 70-something thousand, and now they're lucky they're getting 40 or 50,000 at a game.
Right.
And wait till it get cold. That place gonna be a ghost town.
Again, if you don't win, your fans don't come out.
So this is what Gruden's 6th year now, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's time for him to go. But unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen until the season's over. But the best thing that he can do is to eventually put Haskins in. Haskins is going to at least need about 6 or 7 games. They're going to have to get him in there eventually to get his feet wet and start getting because the personnel is going to change. Everything is going to change in the off season. I foresee that happening anyway. But they're not going to just drastically say, okay, Gruden, you out, and then you bring someone else in. You can't change everything. It's not going to happen. So
I would hate to see Haskins get in and then end up trying to learn an offense behind a poor offensive line, behind a bunch of people that obviously don't look like they are playing for the coaches, get beat up, and then have to start all over again with a whole different regime. I'd rather not play at all this year. That's just me.
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
That's just me. Just finishing up, Colts had a nice win, holding on and beating the Falcons. Jacoby Brissett had a big game, threw for 310 yards, 2 TDs. Matt Ryan's having a good year. Even with the Falcons 1-2, he's showing that maybe he's worth the $30+ million that they're paying him, but the rest of the team isn't.
Natty Ice.
The Vikings over the Raiders. Kirk Cousins is barely throwing for 200 yards a game, 1 TD, but is making $28 million a year. The Vikings are winning in spite of him. That's just crazy.
Yeah.
but Dak can't get a contract. We'll move
Yeah.
on from there.
Keep it moving.
Deshaun Watson had a big game, bringing his Texans over the Chargers with 351 yards, 3 TDs. The offensive line looked a little better. Looked like they're starting to gel a little bit, so hopefully Deshaun won't get hit as much. And then we talked briefly about the Seahawks in that Saints game and Teddy Bridgewater getting his first W with a back and forth game. But I do have to give big ups to Russell Wilson. 406 yards, 2 TDs, and a loss.
Oh, he went off.
He's a baller.
He
He
went
tried
off.
to will that team to a victory. So
Man, what he normally does when it's back against the wall, he always tries to will his team to victory.
So the big games coming up this weekend, starting off this Thursday, Philly at Green Bay. That should be a nice one. If Philly doesn't get their act right, their season could be over before it starts. And Green Bay looks to stay undefeated. Two undefeateds, Pats against the Bills, Browns at the Ravens, a little sneaky one, Kansas City at Detroit. And we really didn't hit it, but the Panthers at Houston.
That should be a good game.
If Kyle Allen has another good game, the Carolina Panthers are 2-8 in their last 10 games. Both victories were when Cam was sitting down and Kyle Allen was the starting QB.
So you saying it sound like a quarterback change?
It could be.
They went from Cam is trying to play last week to, I just heard this morning that the timetable for Cam's foot injury is no timetable.
Mm.
Yeah,
So
it's not looking
Cam-
good.
Get healthy quick as you can, because you might not have a job. Sound like they might Willie Pip you.
Yeah, that looks the direction that they're going. If this, because there's injuries that he keeps sustaining, this is not helping the situation. But hopefully, he'll get back and he can make something happen.
Yeah, I hope so. And of course, Sunday night football, Cowboys at Saints. That's going to be a barn burner.
Who
Can't
dat?
wait for that?
Who that?
Yes.
This week also starts the beginning of the bye weeks, which everybody dreads. I think the first 2 byes are the Jets and 49ers take a week off. I'm sure they aren't happy with that. Week 4 having a bye, then they got to go 13 straight weeks, then the playoffs. But got to do what you got to
It
do.
is what it is.
College football. The cream of the crop stays the cream of the crop. Really wasn't anything significant going on there. Clemson did their thing. Crushed lowly Charlotte. Bama crushed Southern Mississippi. Tua does Tua things.
Right.
Another 5 TDs. That receiving core of Alabama, I know I may be a little bit of homer for Bama, but I think they got 4 first-round receivers on that team.
Yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
I agree.
Without a
I
doubt.
agree. They're very deep.
The game of the week in college for me was Georgia over Notre Dame.
What a good game.
Yeah, that was a pretty good game. That was one game I did watch, and credit Notre Dame. They hung in there.
They hung in there, but
that
I don't think
hostile environment.
I don't think they had the heart. I don't think they had the heart or the will to win that game. I mean, they tried, but Georgia just came strong.
I just think that the biggest problem with the Irish is they just don't have the key parts when they have to play these big tough teams.
But they were ranked, so
they just don't have enough depth as well.
Yeah, I think it's the Joes. I think that depth, the Georgias, the Ohio States, the Alabamas, the Clemsons,
Right.
they can rotate so many people, and everybody they bring in is at minimum a 3-star. Most of them are 4 and 5-star athletes. So come the end of the third quarter, fourth quarter, you can see Notre Dame slowing down.
Yeah.
so that goes back to the question that we were talking about earlier. Is it scheme or is it players?
In college, it's all about the Joes in college.
Yeah. It's
all
straight
about the
recruiting.
Joes in college.
Yeah, straight recruiting.
Good question. That
Yeah.
goes out to G Money.
Yeah.
We hear you, bro.
Yeah. Well, one last point. Sorry, Brad.
Go ahead.
That looking at Georgia, I'm not convinced that they're going to really make a run.
Yeah, I think Georgia needs to update their offense a little more and get more into the passing game like LSU. I mean, what LSU's been doing this year with Mr. Joe Burrow, who went from Joe Who to possibly Joe Heisman finalist.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he went off against Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt has a down year, but they still an SEC team. They're going to play a little defense. 398 yards, 25-34 for 6 TDs.
66
At
to
LSU?
38.
At LSU.
Woo!
Yep.
At LSU. I mean, so again, the transfer quarterbacks are doing big things. Justin Fields up in Ohio State, 6 more TDs, another Heisman hopeful, 4 passing, 2 rushing. I mean, they pound Miami of Ohio. The funny thing about that game, Miami of Ohio actually led 5-0 in the first quarter. And then Ohio State scored 76 straight points.
That's because you knew that was going to happen. You know Miami of Ohio wasn't going to take Ohio State. Come on now.
Right.
That ain't even fair.
It was just, when I saw the 5-0 come across TV, I was like, ooh. And then 20 minutes later, it was 20-something. Then I saw the final score. So that was real fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Another big top 25 matchup was Auburn against Texas A&M. Auburn went to Texas A&M, beat 28-20.
What did I tell you?
Yeah,
What did I tell you last week?
You
I
called it,
told
Joe.
you.
You called
Texas A&M does not show up for nobody but Bama. That's it. Anybody else, they just there.
I hear you, but that's impressive win for Auburn on the road. They've got 2 impressive road wins so far. And what Wisconsin did to Michigan should probably be outlawed.
Again,
Yeah.
we said the Badgers were going to win that game.
Yes, we did.
Because we did not think Michigan had it in them.
Well, look, speaking of that
So-
game, though, Mr. Jonathan Taylor, he's
Monster.
another Heisman hopeful.
Yeah.
He's one of the top 5.
Yeah.
Look out for him.
Another 200-yard day. Here's a man that's first 2 years rushed for over 4,100 yards. Looks like he's on pace to do another 2,000-yard season. He's going to be, if not the one of the top running backs in the NFL draft come next spring. And John Harbaugh,
Who?
I think you got problems, bro.
Knocking on the door.
Yeah, he has some issues going on right now. And word is on the street that he may be going back to the NFL.
Mm.
Where he going to get $7 million a year in the NFL?
Yeah, you got a good point there.
Because he'd have to walk away from that Michigan contract, because I know he's signed for another 4 or 5 years with most of that money guaranteed. Nobody gonna pay him $7 million a year to come back and coach at the NFL with his offense.
Yeah.
Well, there are some teams that need head coaches.
Yeah,
I'm gonna leave that alone.
That would be even worse. The craziest game of the weekend, and it takes a real diehard because this is a West Coast game. UCLA was down 32 points in the third quarter, came back, beat Washington State 67-63 in regulation time.
Obviously, there was no defense being played.
Yeah, defense was optional in the second half, but I mean,
Come on, man. 67 points.
you down 32 and come back and win.
No
At the other place's
defense.
house?
No defense.
And the stats was crazy. UCLA's quarterback, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, 25 for 38, 507 yards, 5 TDs, plus 11 for 57 rushing with 2 more TDs. And he was the second best quarterback on the field, because the quarterback for Washington State, Mr. Anthony Gordon, went 41 for 61 for 570 yards and 9 passing touchdowns.
Again,
Catching throwing for
no
9 TDs and lose.
defense.
Both defenses were gassed.
Mhm.
I mean, that was incredible. I saw the second half of that, and I was like, wow. That's incredible. The Pac-10, I think, is done in a college football race. USC upset Utah. Um, Colorado upset Arizona State. So I think they only have one team left undefeated, and that's the Cow Bears. And I don't think they're going to stay undefeated. Uh, you also had Pitt upset number 15 UCF, so we don't have to deal with them complaining that they're a possible national champion, but nobody will play them. So, anything else catch you guys' eyes in college football? I know y'all don't watch it as much as I do.
No, uh, uh, not this
No, I'm
moment.
good.
No, I'm good.
I'm good.
This week, big games of the week. Maryland hosted number 12 Penn State Friday night, 8 p.m. So, I mean, if you're here locally, you might want to try to go to the Terp Stadium and check them out. You got UVA against number 10 Notre Dame, which is a good game. USC at Washington. Ohio State at Nebraska. So some good games, but the meat of the SEC starts in a couple of weeks when you start seeing Georgia against LSU and Alabama starts getting into the heart of their schedule. So it's going to be some good football coming. Major League Baseball is in their final week. Looks like we only have two races left to see who's going to win the pennant. So what's your thoughts, Al?
Well, I mean, just to recap what's going on. I mean, in the American League, obviously Yankees, they're got pretty much they got their division locked down. Houston, Minnesota. Now the wild card, it's only a half game separation going into tonight's games. Oakland, Tampa Bay, they hold it down, but Cleveland is just a half game out. I would not be surprised if Cleveland slips through the cracks and gets that wild card spot. As far as in the National League, you got Atlanta, St. Louis, and the Dodgers holding down their divisions. Wild card, Washington, they looking really good now. They won their first game early this afternoon. So hopefully, if they pull the second game out this evening and Chicago loses, they're in as a wild card.
Okay, let's go Nats.
Yes, looking good. So that's pretty much it on the front for baseball. Looking forward to the wild card. Wild card starts next week, October the 1st. That's on a Tuesday, and we'll see what's going on from there.
Yeah, that's where the fun starts. One
Yes.
and done.
One and done.
So do you play your big ace, try to win and move on, and then mess up your rotation, or hope you can beat them with your rotational players and keep your ace for the first series?
There's really no gambling here. You got to play. All arms are available. You do what you need to do, and the managers worry about that once they get into a series, 7-game series.
So we want to go ahead and give shout outs to our local high school teams. Starting off with number 9, St. Francis Academy of Baltimore, who is now ranked. Record is 4-1 in USA Today Super 25. They beat New Orleans of Miami 49-0. They play at St. Joe's Regional of Monte, New Jersey on Saturday 1 p.m. Number 8 Gonzaga, they are 4-0. USA Today Super 25. They're ranked number 1 in the Washington Post. They beat Avalon at Wheaton 47-8. They play Tampa, Florida on Friday at 6:30. St. John's, they're 2-3, ranked number 4 in Washington Post. They lost to USA's Today's Super 25 IMG Academy 35-20. They host number 1 Matter Day Friday at 8:30. Then we got DeMatha, who is 3-1, ranked number 2 in the Washington Post. They beat St. Ignatius of Cleveland, Ohio 42-0. They host Life Christian Academy Friday at 7 p.m. And finally, Good Counsel, who is 3-1, ranked number 5 in the Washington Post. They beat Archbishop Spalding 21-7. They play ranked 13 Friendship Collegiate Friday at 7 p.m.
Yeah, I'm going to see what the schedule I can make up. I'm going to see if I can try to get down to that St. John's Mater Day game this Friday. That should be a big local high school football game. I know Ed, who's usually with us, went to see St. Francis play this past weekend, so he got to see another trouncing with St. Francis at 49-0. So the good job, local high school teams. Keep pushing. I'd like to see get us a couple of more teams into that USA Today Super 25. Join Gonzaga. Hopefully, my DeMatha Catholic High School can get in there with another win soon. So we look forward to that. This weekend, we got a big event happening. Earl Spence Jr. versus Sean Porter, unified 147-pound welterweight belt, IBF and WBC, arguably two of the top three welterweights in the world right now going to get it on. I mean, we all know that Bud, Mr. Crawford, can't get involved in this because he's in with a different organization. But I'm really looking forward to this title fight. And the co-main event actually might outdo the main event. You got Anthony the Dog Durrell, 34-year-old two-time champion who's going to try to defend his title again and hopefully successfully this time versus 22-year-old David Benavidez, who originally won the title at 20 years old, but unfortunately had some off-the-field issues like we talked earlier today and got stripped of his title. So they said that they're going to both step in and it's going to be a brawl from Ding.
Both games. I mean, both
Yeah.
fights should be interesting.
Yeah, it should be really good.
I want to see Errol Spencer take. He talks a good game, but can he actually bring it back it up? Let's see.
Sean Porter really, I think what he needs to do, he's going to have to be on the attack the whole time. The fight I see cannot go long. For him to have an opportunity to win this fight, he's going to have to be on attack the whole time. We know Earl Spence, he can go the distance if it's going distance. He's more of a Shaker Baker type guy. He's got the power, but Porter's going to have to get up in his chest and stay up in his chest the whole time to have any chance to win.
Well, you know, Spencer got the reach on him, so
exactly.
But
that's why Porter,
if Spencer keeps his distance and literally boxes him,
I know,
instead of brawl him, it shouldn't be no contest.
Right. Well, that's what Porter has to do.
Right.
He has no alternative but to go that way out.
And that's been Porter's whole game.
Right.
Porter's an athlete who turned to boxing. I don't think he was originally in love with fighting, but knew that that was the easiest way for him to get to that professional level and kind of make a living out of it, with his dad being a boxing trainer. And I mean, kind of the backstory, Earl Spence Jr. actually used to be trained by Sean Porter's dad, and they were good friends at one time. Now that, you know, both of them had their own belts, so that's kind of gone to the wayside. So it'll be real interesting. Does Porter get Spence into the brawl that he wants to, or does Spence try to prove something to Sean Porter that I can beat you anywhere I want you?
If he's smart, he stick to his game, use that reach to his advantage, beat him round for round, and go ahead home with the title.
And hopefully the winner of this obviously will try to line up and fight Manny Pacquiao, the other title holder in the division that's on Premier Boxing's card. And then hopefully maybe in 2020 we'll get the fight that we really want and get the winner of this against Mr. Crawford,
Right?
who I think is the best of the best.
I agree.
Also tonight, if you get a chance, I know I've been pushing this for you guys out there. We've got the semifinal action in the WNBA playoffs. We've got our local Washington Mystics, who are being hosted by the Las Vegas Aces. The Mystics are up 2-1, looking to hopefully finish this series up tonight so they can get to it. The Connecticut Sun swept the LA Sparks 3-0, so they're awaiting the winner to play for the WNBA championships. Again, if you haven't watched WNBA basketball, please take time out, DVR it, take a peek. I think you'll be happily surprised. That brings us to our final post. What you got for us this week, J3?
So I want to give a shout out to all my bowlers in the world. That's one sport that we really don't talk about, but it's one of my favorite pastimes, and I think that bowling is definitely coming back. It's actually on ESPN as well as some of the local channels. So all my bowlers, shout out to you.
Appreciate that. Shout out. You got two other bowlers right here in the room with you.
Yep.
What
Yes.
you got for us, Al?
Well, just to reiterate about the baseball and playoffs kicking off next Tuesday, and when we air next week, I will give you my picks who's going to make it to the World Series and the winner.
Oh wow!
Oh, I can't wait for that. Can't wait for that. I mean, you are the baseball head in here.
Absolutely.
My final post is fall is here. The seasons are changing. Please get out. Take advantage of the sun out there as you can, but also please take advantage of some of these great games out there. We're going to have another good week of NFL football coming this week. The WNBA finals will be starting soon. You got college football, and of course, that pay-per-view fight. If you're not going to get it yourself, phone a friend, find some place to go ahead and watch the game. But enjoy it. I'd like to thank you all for tuning in again this week and listening. We appreciate your time. More importantly, we appreciate the opportunity to share our positions on sports with you. Please tune in next week, Tuesday at 7 p.m. for our next show, or follow us and download us via Mixcloud, Facebook, or YouTube. Also, please tell your friends and family and social media network about our show. If you do follow us on YouTube, please like the show. We greatly appreciate it. Again, thank you for your time. We appreciate you. Have a good evening and a great week. This has been Positional Sports Talk Show on the Worldwide Flavor Network. Please stay tuned for Overtime featuring Miss Color Beauty. Have a great week.
Good night.
Peace.
See y'all.
Good night.